Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is the 1931 Cleveland Cubs Negro National League baseball season. The Cubs were Cleveland's sixth Negro League baseball team, following the Tate Stars, Browns, Elites, Hornets, and Tigers. And the Cleveland Cubs were playing in the Negro National League, which the other teams had played in. Home games in Cleveland were played at Kinsman Hardware Field and at Hooper Field. And the Cubs finished in seventh place, had kind of a tough year, with a record of 25-28, 7 games out of first. The first place team was the Kansas City Monarchs, who were 18-7, winning percentage of .720. You see, these teams had different, they played a lot of non-league games, so that's why the Monarchs had such a small number of games in their league record. The second place team was the Indianapolis ABCs, who were 43-20. Third place, the St. Louis Stars, 23-17. Fourth place, the Chicago Giants, 16-13. Fifth place, the Louisville White Sox, 19-23. Sixth place, the Detroit Stars, 23-30. Seventh place, the Cleveland Cubs, 25-28. So the Cubs were in last place. Now, the Nashville Elite Giants, owned by Tom Wilson, moved to Cleveland in 1931 and became the Cleveland Cubs. There had been no Negro League baseball team in Cleveland in 1929 and 1930. The Cubs swept the Nashville Elite Giants in an April doubleheader. The Gazette newspaper recorded this, quote, "Both teams showed fine form for so early in the season, pulling off many fast plays. The Ohio club has a strong array of talent and is likely to hold its own in the National League competition." Now, there is confusion about the team record. One source has it as 25-28, another as 29-24. The big star of the Cleveland Cubs was Satchel Paige. He was early in his career. In June, at the Kinsman Hardware Field, the Homestead Grays beat the Cubs decisively. The attendance was less than 1,000 fans. They also played 3 games in the new Cleveland Municipal Stadium in August, September, and October. The Homestead Grays played the Kansas City Monarchs. In 3 games at the new stadium, Cleveland Municipal Stadium, in August, September, and October. The Homestead Grays played the Kansas City Monarchs and the Baltimore Black Sox. And while the MLB and minor league, as long as white MLB minor league players. Attendance was 4,000 fans at each game. Cum Posey, a player, manager, and owner and a guy in the Baseball Hall of Fame, said this, quote, "The 1931 baseball season among the colored clubs of the nation has never had a more dreary time. Baseball at this time needs men with much knowledge of all things connected with the operation of big-time baseball." Now, I'm reading a fine book called Negro League Baseball, The Rise and Ruin of a Black Institution by Neil Langtott, 2004. The Negro National League folded after the 1931 season, and as well after that season, the Cleveland Cubs moved back to Nashville. Now, the starting lineup for the team, Milt Laurent was the catcher. He also, in his career, played third base, first base, outfield, second base, shortstop, and pitcher. For the Cubs, Laurent batted .280 with 30 hits and 107 at-bats. He scored 15 runs, had 8 doubles, a triple, a home run, an RBI, 3 stolen bases, and incomplete statistics. He also did some pitching, was 1-0, had 1 start, a complete game, 9 innings pitched, allowed 5 runs, and had a strikeout. Laurent played for the Memphis Red Sox, Cleveland Cubs, Birmingham Black Barons, Nashville Elite Giants, and New Orleans Crescent Stars between 1929 and 1933. He was born in 1901 in New Orleans, Louisiana, and played every position during his career. Very versatile player. So for his career, the statistics that are available, he had 166 hits, 679 at-bats, 32 doubles, 4 triples, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, and batted .244. Milt Laurent. Jim West was the first baseman. They called him Shifty. He also played outfield and second base. West batted 140 with 14 hits and 100 at-bats. He scored 12 runs, had 3 doubles, 2 triples, or 2 home runs, 2 recorded RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. West played for the Nashville Elite Giants, Birmingham Black Barons, Memphis Red Sox, Cleveland Cubs, Columbus Elite Giants, Washington Elite Giants, Baltimore Elite Giants, Philadelphia Stars, and New York Black Yankees between 1930 and 1948, as well as the Indianapolis Clowns. He was a stylish player, smooth fielding baseman with fancy footwork at first base. He took throws one-handed with a floppy old glove and made plays look easy. He was a slow player and considered a stumbling stride as a base runner. West was an all-star in 1936 and 1942. In 1944, he hit .350 and led the league with 7 triples. In 1934, he hit .422. 1938, he hit .403. And in 1944, he hit .350. After he retired, he was a bartender in Philadelphia. And there was an unfortunate event. A hold-up man entered the bar. West wrestled the man for control of the gun, was shot and killed. He was born in 1911 in Mobile, Alabama, and died in 1970 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at age 58. For his career, West batted .290 with 587 hits, 83 doubles, 36 triples, 28 home runs, 366 RBIs, 9 stolen bases in 557 games. Jim West. Comer Cox was the second baseman. During his career, he also played third base, left field, and right field. He batted .280 with 26 hits and 93 at-bats. He scored 25 runs, had 3 doubles, and 3 stolen bases. They called him Hannibal and Russ. Cox played for the Nashville Elite Giants and Cleveland Cubs between 1930 and 1931. He was a good utility player. He was born in 1905 in Athens, Alabama. For his career, Cox had 74 hits and 256 at-bats, 9 doubles, a triple, and batted .289. Comer Cox. Jesse Walker was the shortstop. During his career, he also was a third baseman and manager. They called him Haas, Deuce, and Ausa. Walker batted .217 with 23 hits and 106 at-bats. He scored 20 runs, had 5 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, and 3 stolen bases. During his career, Walker played for the Atlantic City Bacharach Giants, Cleveland Cubs, Nashville Elite Giants, Columbus Elite Giants, Washington Elite Giants, Baltimore Elite Giants, Memphis Red Sox, New York Black Yankees, Birmingham Black Barons, Ethiopian Clowns, Cincinnati Clowns, Cincinnati Indianapolis Clowns, Indianapolis Clowns, Nashville Cubs, and Detroit Stars. Wow, between 1929 and 1955. He was born in 1912 in Austin, Texas. Excuse me. And he's a good baseball man. Made most of his abilities, mostly batted in the lower part of the order during his career. In 1942, he batted second in the order. 1944, he was the manager of the Cincinnati Indianapolis Clowns. In 1948, he was the manager of the Baltimore Elite Giants. During the latter part of his career, he worked in the front office management. For his career, his incomplete statistics, very incomplete, are a .207 average, 186 hits, 25 doubles, 10 triples, 5 home runs, 38 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, and 28 walks. Jesse Walker. Pop Turner was the third baseman. He also played shortstop, second base, and was an umpire in his career. They called him EC. Turner batted .246 with 17 hits and 69 at-bats. He scored 9 runs, had 2 doubles, a triple, and an RBI, and incomplete. They kept incomplete statistics for RBIs, for sure. Turner played for the Brooklyn Royal Giants, Homestead Grays, Birmingham Black Barons, Cleveland Cubs, New York Black Yankees, and Cole's American Giants between 1925 and 1932. He was a good third baseman. He would get the batter by a step on throws to first. He had no power at the plate. He lacked speed. However, he was a smart and alert base runner, and he made highly intelligent use of his mind more than his body. He was a teacher of young players. 1932, he won a title in the Negro Southern League Championship with the Coles American Giants. After he retired, he was an umpire in the Negro National League. For his career, Turner batted .247 with 152 hits, 27 doubles, 6 triples, 13 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, and 26 walks. Pop Turner. Orville Singer was the left fielder. He also played in his career center field, right field, and second base. Singer had a good year. He hit .316 with 24 hits and 76 at-bats. Scored 11 runs, had 2 doubles, a triple, an RBI, and 2 stolen bases. And Singer played for the Cleveland Browns in 1924, the Cleveland Tigers in 1928, the Cleveland Cubs in 1931, and the Cleveland Stars in 1932. Orville Singer. Jack Ridley played center field. He also played first base in his career. Ridley batted .248 with 26 hits and 105 at-bats. He scored 22 runs, had 2 doubles, 2 triples, 4 stolen bases, and 1 walk. Ridley in his career played for the Nashville Elite Giants, Cleveland Cubs, and Louisville Redcaps between 1927 and 1934. He was a leadoff hitter. Ridley was involved in a very tragic car accident that ended his career. He was a passenger in an automobile, and his arm was hanging out of open window. The driver passed a truck and cut back into the lane too soon. The vehicle smashed, and Ridley's arm was ripped off. Tragic. For his career, Ridley batted .227 with 104 hits. He scored had 9 doubles, 5 triples, a home run, 5 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, and 18 recorded walks. Jack Ridley. Clarence Smith was the right fielder. In his career, he also played left field, second base, first base, and manager. Smith batted .339 with 19 hits and 56 at-bats. He scored 9 runs, had 5 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs, a stolen base, and a walk. Smith played for the Columbus Buckeyes, Detroit Stars, Atlantic City Bacharach Giants, Birmingham Black Barons, Baltimore Black Sox, Columbia American Giants, and Cleveland Cubs between 1921 and 1931. In 1927, he was the regular right fielder for the Eastern Color League champions, Bacharach Giants, and hit .353 and batted 5th in the order. In 1929, with Birmingham, he hit .390. For his career, Smith batted .317 with 472 hits, 264 runs scored, 66 doubles, 33 triples, 20 home runs, 268 RBIs, 56 stolen bases, 76 walks in 383 games. Fine career for Clarence Smith. Now, the bench players included Joe Wiggins, who played some third base and shortstop. Wiggins batted .290 with 18 hits and 62 at-bats. He scored 13 runs, had 4 doubles, a home run, an RBI, and 3 stolen bases. He also was called Chevier. He played for the Nashville Elite Giants, Cleveland Cubs, Baltimore Black Sox, Hilldale Daisies, Atlantic City Bacharach Giants, and New York Black Yankees between 1930 and 1934. Wiggins was born in 1906 in Petersburg, Virginia, and died in 1984 in Cleveland, Ohio at age 78. For his career, he batted .229 with 27 hits. He scored 15 runs, had 3 doubles, 2 triples, a home run, 13 RBIs, a stolen base, and 5 walks. Joe Wiggins. Nish Williams played all over the place. He was a catcher, right fielder, left fielder, third baseman, first baseman, second baseman, and manager in his career. Williams batted .288 with 15 hits and 52 at-bats. He scored 7 runs, had 2 doubles, a triple, an RBI, and a stolen base. They called him Vinicius. He was also called Nish and Zeke. Williams played for the Nashville Elite Giants, Cleveland Cubs, Columbus Elite Giants, Washington Elite Giants, Birmingham Black Barons, Atlanta Black Crackers, and Indianapolis ABCs between 1927 and 1939. He was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and died in Atlanta in 1968. As a catcher, he had a weak throwing arm, but he was a good clutch hitter, fastball hitter, and a pull hitter. He could hit the long ball. He was the father of MLB pitch player Don Clendenin. And he also went, that's interesting, he also went to Morehouse College. Williams was born in 1904 in Atlanta and died in 1968 in Atlanta at age 64. For his career, he batted .270 with 116 hits, 62 runs, 16 doubles, 2 triples, 2 home runs, 55 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 36 walks in 141 games. Nish Williams. Branch Russell played some right field and third base. He batted .265 with 13 hits and 49 at-bats. Scored 5 runs, had 2 doubles, a home run, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, and 2 walks. Russell played for the Kansas City Monarchs, St. Louis Stars, Cleveland Cubs, and Cleveland Stars between 1922 and 1932. Russell was born in 1895 in South Boston, Virginia, and died in 1959 in St. Louis, Missouri at age 63. He was the right fielder for the Negro National League champion St. Louis Stars in 1928, 1930, and 1931. Between 1926 and 1930, he hit .291, .331, .334, and .331. He hit .307 in Cuba in 1929 in the Winter Leagues. After he retired, he was a supervisor for the Parks and Recreation Department in St. Louis. For his career, Russell batted .297 with 433 hits. He scored 301 runs, 66 doubles, 43 triples, 26 home runs, 246 RBIs, 35 stolen bases, and 171 walks. Branch Russell, Black Bottom Buford, played some third base, shortstop, second base, outfield, and pitcher during his career. For the Cubs in 1931, he batted .209 with 9 hits and 43 at-bats. He scored 5 runs and had a walk. During his career, Buford played for the Nashville Elite Giants, Cleveland Cubs, Birmingham Black Barons, Detroit Stars, Louisville Redcaps between 1927 and 1934. He was an infielder with a colorful nickname, Black Bottom. He could play any infield position. He had pretty good power and speed. For his career, he batted .255 with 134 hits. 61 runs scored, 15 doubles, 3 triples, 2 home runs, 20 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, 21 walks in 526 at-bats. And one wonders if he's related to the Baltimore Orioles star player Don Buford from the 1960s and 70s. Black Bottom Buford. Charles Zamfier was back again. He batted .258 with 8 hits and 31 at-bats. He scored 4 runs, had 4 doubles, a home run, and an RBI. Zamfier played for the Cleveland Elites in 1926, the Cleveland Hornets in 1927, the Cleveland Tigers in 1928, and the Cleveland Cubs in 1931. This was the end of his Negro National League baseball career. He continued as an umpire in the Negro Leagues. Charles Zamfier. Bill Perkins was a catcher, left fielder, and manager during his career. In 1931, Perkins batted .200 with 6 hits and 30 at-bats. He scored a run and had 2 doubles. They called him Bill, George, and Cy. Perkins played for the Birmingham Black Barons, Cleveland Cubs, Pittsburgh Crawfords, Cleveland Stars, Homestead Grays, played in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic League, the Philadelphia Stars, Baltimore Elite Giants, New York Black Yankees between 1928 and 1946. He was born in Georgia, and he was Satchel Paige's favorite catcher. He's not a very mobile catcher, but a good receiver with a strong arm, and wore a chest protector with the words, "Thou shalt not steal." He was a slow base runner, but had good power. Perkins was in the All-Star team in 1934 and 1940. Played baseball for 5 winters in Cuba. 1937 with Ciudad Trujillo, he was on a title-winning team in the Dominican Republic. He was killed in a restaurant and the circumstances are uncertain. Perkins was born in 1906 in Dawson, Georgia, and died in 1958 in Birmingham, Alabama, at age 51. For his career, he batted .267 with 383 hits. He scored 195 runs, had 57 doubles, 21 triples, 21 home runs, 240 RBIs, 13 stolen bases, 107 walks in 427 games. And he made his career as a catcher for Satchel Paige and followed Paige from Birmingham to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and the Dominican Republic. Bill Perkins. Jake Smith was a catcher, outfielder, third baseman, and first baseman. Smith batted .214 with 6 hits and 28 at-bats. He scored 4 runs, had 2 doubles, and a stolen base. They called him Robert, Bob, Jake, and Turkey. Smith played for the Birmingham Black Barons, Cleveland Cubs, Nashville Elite Giants, Memphis Red Sox, Cincinnati Tigers, Chicago American Giants, St. Louis Stars, New Orleans St. Louis Stars, and Pittsburgh Crawfords between 1930 and 1944. He's a Memphis, Tennessee native, a smart catcher, and he was dangerous in the clutch as a hitter and a fast base runner. For his career, Smith batted .197 with 54 hits. He had 8 doubles, a triple, 11 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, 21 walks, and 274 at-bats. Jake Smith. George Dixon batted .180, had 3 hits and 16 at-bats and scored a run. Dixon played for the Cleveland Elites in 1926, the Cleveland Hornets in 1927, Cleveland Tigers in 1928, the Cleveland Cubs in 1931, and the Cleveland Giants in 1933. George Dixon. Player by the name of Chandler batted 5 times, did not have a hit, and scored the run. And his Negro National League career was just with the Cleveland Cubs in 1930. Player named Chandler. Joe Hewitt played all over the place. He was a shortstop, second baseman, third baseman, outfielder, pitcher, and manager. He had 1 hit and 4 at-bats and scored a run with an average of .250 in 1931. Hewitt played for the St. Louis Giants, Brooklyn Royal Giants, New York Lincoln Giants, New York Lincoln Stars, the GCT Redcaps, Philadelphia Giants, Detroit Stars, Chicago American Giants, St. Louis Stars, Milwaukee Bears, Birmingham Black Barons, Dayton Marcos, Nashville Elite Giants, and the Cleveland Cubs between 1910 and 1932. He was fast on the bases, an outstanding base stealer, and had a big range at shortstop. Hewitt was born in 1885 in New Market, Alabama, and died in 1948 in St. Louis, Missouri at age 62. For his career, he batted .252 with 536 hits. He scored 422 runs, 52 doubles, 13 triples, 7 home runs, 174 RBIs, 155 stolen bases, really good, 312 walks in 587 games. A fine career for Joe Hewitt. There was a player named Walker, no first name. Walker batted .333 with 1 hit and 3 at-bats, and his career was just with the Cleveland Cubs in 1931. Guy named Walker. Now the pitching's, another player was Eddie Miller, who during his career was a pitcher, shortstop, third baseman, outfielder, and first baseman. In 1931 with the Cubs, he batted twice and did not have a hit. Miller played for the Chicago American Giants, Indianapolis ABCs, Homestead Grays, Chicago American Giants, and Cleveland Cubs between 1924 and 1931. He's a right-handed pitcher with good control, had a good memory of the batter's weaknesses. His best year was in 1926 when he was 16-3 with Indianapolis. He started with Fort Worth as a semi-pro, making $72 a month. His father was only making $1 a day, working 10-hour days digging ditches. Miller faced Babe Ruth in Cuba in the Winter League. After he retired, he had a job loading trucks. His eyesight failed, and he retired in Dallas, Texas in 1986 and lost 90% of his eyesight. Miller was born in 1902 in Calvert, Texas. For his career, he batted .212 with 35 hits. He scored 14 runs, had 7 doubles, 3 triples, 8 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, and 6 walks. As a pitcher for his career, Miller was 16-16 with an ERA of 4.11. 52 games, 33 starts, 18 complete games, 304 in a third innings pitched, and 97 strikeouts. Eddie Miller. Player named Grove had a batting average of 1,000. He batted once, had a hit, and scored a run, and his career was just with the Cleveland Cubs in 1931. Guy named Grove. Now the pitching staff, Jim Willis was the ace pitcher. He also played outfield. Willis batted .235. with 8 hits and 34 at-bats. He scored 3 runs and had 3 doubles. Willis was 4-4. He made 8 starts, had 6 complete games, 70 innings pitched, and 38 strikeouts. Willis pitched for the Nashville Elite Giants, Birmingham Black Barons, Cleveland Cubs, Philadelphia Stars, Columbus Elite Giants, Washington Elite Giants, Baltimore Elite Giants between 1927 and 1939. He's a right-hand pitcher, fastball pitcher, and they called him Cannonball. For his career, he batted .276 with 34 hits. He scored 17 runs, had 4 doubles, 10 RBIs, and 5 walks. For his career as a pitcher, he was 17-20 with an ERA of 3.55, 54 games, 36 starts, 27 complete games, 340 innings pitched, and 154 strikeouts. Jim Willis. Cliff Bell was second in the rotation. He also played some outfield. Bell batted 100 with 2 hits and 20 at-bats and scored a run. As a pitcher, he was 3-4 with 7 starts, a complete game, 68 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 29 strikeouts. They called him Clifford and Cherry. Bell played for the Kansas City Monarchs, the Memphis Red Sox, Cleveland Cubs, and Nashville Elite Giants between 1921 and 1931. He started 2 games each in the 1924 and 1925 Negro League World Series and won 2 titles with the Kansas City Monarchs those years. For 4 winters, he was in Cuba, and this was the end of his Negro League baseball career, 1931. Bell was born in 1896 in Kildare, Texas, and died in 1952 in Los Angeles, California at age 52. For his career, he batted .173 with 28 hits. He scored 15 runs, had 6 doubles, a triple, 10 RBIs, a stolen base, and 14 walks. Bell, for his career as a pitcher, was 25-22 with an ERA of 3.77. 77 games, 50 starts, 29 complete games, 439 innings pitched, and 148 strikeouts. Cliff Bell. Dimp Miller was another starting pitcher. Miller batted .310 with 9 hits in 29 at-bats. He scored 2 runs, had 2 doubles, a stolen base. Miller's pitching record was 2-4 with 7 starts, 3 complete games, 46 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 31 strikeouts. Miller played for the Cleveland Elites in 1926, the Cleveland Hornets in 1927, the Cleveland Tigers in 1928, and the Cleveland Cubs in 1931. So this was the end of his time in Cleveland. However, his Negro League baseball career continued until 1945. Dimp Miller. Richard Cannon was another starting pitcher. Cannon batted .235 with 4 hits and 17 at-bats and scored 2 runs. He was 4-1 as a pitcher, 4 starts, all complete games, 42 1/3 innings pitched, and 15 strikeouts. They called him Speedball. Cannon played for the St. Louis Stars, Louisville White Sox, Cleveland Cubs, Nashville Elite Giants, Birmingham Black Barons, Louisville Black Caps, and Louisville Red Caps between 1928 and 1934. He was a fastball pitcher and won a title in 1928 with the St. Louis Stars. He was born in 1909 in Mount Vernon, Indiana. Richard Cannon. Sam Streeter batted .333 with 4 hits and 12 at-bats. As a pitcher, he was 2-1 with 3 starts, all complete games, 33 1/3 innings pitched, and 16 strikeouts. They called him Lefty. Streeter played for the Montgomery Gray Sox, Atlanta Black Crackers, Chicago American Giants, Atlantic City Bacharach Giants, the New York Lincoln Giants, Birmingham Black Barons, Homestead Grays, Baltimore Black Sox, Cleveland Cubs, and Pittsburgh Crawfords between 1920 and 1936. He was born in 1900 in New Market, Alabama, and died in 1985 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at age 84. He was a spitball pitcher. In 1933, he was a starting pitcher in the East-West All-Star Game. His best year was 1924 when he was 14-7 with Birmingham. With the Homestead Grays, he was a clubhouse hearts cards player, a chunky hurler. In 1920, he had a perfect game with Montgomery against the Atlanta Black Crackers. He's a good hitting pitcher. Between 1927 and 1933, Streeter batted .370, .347, .344, .409, and .304. For his career, Streeter batted .242 with 76 hits, scored 26 runs, and 7 doubles, 3 triples, 25 RBIs, 10 walks in 133 games. And as a pitcher, he was 52-37 with an ERA of 4.09. 130 games, 92 starts, 68 complete games, 4 shutouts, 2 saves, 818 1/3 innings pitched, and 448 strikeouts. What a career for Sam Streeter. He was lured to the Pittsburgh Crawfords at the same time as Satchel Paige. Sam Streeter. Satchel Paige was another pitcher for the Cleveland Cubs in 1931. He batted .375 with 3 hits and 8 at-bats and scored a run. Paige's pitching record was 1-2. 3 starts, a complete game, a shutout, 28 2/3 innings pitched, and 10 strikeouts. His given name was Robert Leroy. Paige played for the Chattanooga Black Lookouts, the Birmingham Black Barons, Baltimore Black Sox, Cleveland Cubs, Pittsburgh Crawfords, Kansas City Monarchs, Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, the Santo Domingo All-Stars, the Newark Eagles, in the Mexican League for Agrario de Mexico, and in the Dominican Republic, the Dragones de Ciudad Trujillo, the Satchel Paige All-Stars, New York Black Yankees, Memphis Red Sox, Philadelphia Stars, Cleveland Indians in the major leagues, St. Louis Browns in the major leagues, Chicago American Giants, Indianapolis Clowns, and the Kansas City Athletics in MLB between 1926 and 1967. Wow, 41 years. Paige was a legendary player. They said he had a pea-sized fastball. He had nimble wit, a colorful personality, and became a household name in the United States. Paige was famous for his barnstorming exhibition games, black teams against white teams, which became part of folklore. The story goes that he would bring in the outfield and strike out the side with a tying run on base. And it was advertised that it was guaranteed he would strike out the first 9 batters in an exhibition game, which he usually did. As a boy in Mobile, Alabama, he was carrying suitcases at the train station for tips, and once attempted to steal a man's satchel and failed, got cuffed about the head, and that's supposedly how he got his nickname Satchel. He stole costume jewelry, got caught, and was sent to Mount Meigs Reform School, and he played baseball there. 1931, he left the Cleveland Cubs to play for the Pittsburgh Crawfords. He had records of 32-7 and 31-4 in 1932 and 1933 with the Pittsburgh Crawfords. In 1937, he won a title in the Dominican Republic with Ciudad Trujillo. He won 4 Negro American League titles with the Kansas City Monarchs between 1939 and 1942. And in 1942, they won the Negro World Series title. Paige appeared in 5 East-West All-Star games. In 1939 and 1940, in the Winter Puerto Rican League, he was 19-3. Joe DiMaggio said that Paige was the toughest pitcher he ever faced. In 1948, with the Cleveland Indians, Paige was 6-1 with a 2.48 ERA and helped Cleveland win a World Series. In 1965, at age 59, he pitched 3 innings of shutout ball for the Kansas City A's, the oldest man to ever play Major League Baseball. In 1971, Paige was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, the first Negro League player to do so. His favorite saying was, "Don't look back, something may be gaining on you." Paige was born in 1906 in Mobile, Alabama, and died in 1982 at age 75. For his career as a hitter, he hit .224 with 94 hits. He scored 39 runs, had 8 doubles, 5 triples, a home run, 32 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, 9 walks in 194 games. As a pitcher in the Negro Leagues, he was 78-45 with incomplete statistics with an ERA of 2.13, 182 games, 147 starts, 73 complete games, 15 shutouts, 10 saves, 1,028 innings pitched, and 989 strikeouts. In MLB, his record was 28-31 with an ERA of 3.29. I'm reading a fine book. The title is Satchel, The Life and Times of an American Legend by Larry Tye, 2009. As a boy, Paige liked to hunt pheasants with rocks and could hit them in flight. From age 12 to 18, he was in the State Reform School in Alabama. And for the name of the school was the Reform School for Juvenile Negro Lawbreakers. He joined the choir and was in the drum and bugle corps. He also milked cows and picked cotton and constructed new buildings at the school. He played on the baseball team for Coach Edward Byrd. Booker T. Washington's influence was felt in the school. The idea was to reform troubled youth through hard work. He did some brick making and cement work, raised livestock, grew vegetables. And in church, on Sundays, the boys went to church. And Satchel Paige was a success story. He had the discipline he received helped him to turn his life around. He was taught to use his head, heart, and hands to achieve success. And he was paroled in December 1923 at age 17. And Paige had this to say, quote, "Those 5.5 years there did something for me. They made a man out of me. If I'd been left on the streets of Mobile to wander with those kids I'd been running around with, I'd have ended up as a bum, a crook. You might say I traded 5 years of freedom to learn how to pitch." He had a tryout with the semi-pro Mobile Tigers, and the manager said, quote, "Do you throw that fastball consistently?" And Page said, quote, "No, sir, I do it all the time." So he was signed. Satchel was 19. When he was 19, his father died at age 47 of, quote, "acute deterioration of the health." His mother, Lula, never saw him play baseball. Quote, Page said this, quote, "She didn't like baseball nohow. She never did see me pitch, and I guess she never will. She thought baseball was sinning, always playing and never working. It's a terrible strain on you when your mama ain't behind you." So that was pretty sad. In 1926, he signed with the Chattanooga White Sox in the Negro Southern League. Arrived in Chattanooga with everything he owned, which was a couple of shirts, an extra pair of socks, and underwear wrapped in an old pair of pants in a brown paper sack. Many white teams wanted Page to play for them for the next 20 years, and they would say this to him: "If only you were white," was said to him many times. The Chattanooga Lookouts offered $500 to paint Page white so he could pitch against the Atlanta Crackers in the minor leagues, in the white minor leagues. His coach, Alex Herman, talked Page out of it. He almost did that, have himself painted white. And he said this, quote, "I sure hated to pass up that $500, and I think I'd have looked good in whiteface, but nobody would have been fooled. White, black, green, yellow, orange, it don't make no difference. Only one person can pitch like me, that's old Satch himself." In 1927, he was with the Birmingham Black Barons in the Negro League Majors. The Chattanooga was in the minors. He warmed up and he put a wrapper of Wrigley's gum on home plate and could throw the ball over that tin foil, showing his pinpoint control. Jimmy Crutchfield said this, quote, When Satchel got to that ballpark, it was like the sun just came out. 1928, Page had 112 strikeouts in 134 innings pitched, 21 walks, and a record of 12-5 and an ERA around 2.00. 1929 in April, against the Cuban Stars, he had 17 strikeouts. On May 5th, 18 strikeouts in a 14-inning game. On June 15th, in games he had 15 strikeouts and 17 strikeouts. Page enjoyed fishing, hunting, and boxing. In the winter of 1929, he was in Cuba. 1930, with the Baltimore Black Sox. He returned to the Birmingham Black Barons. 1931 in Cleveland, quote, he said this, quote, "I'd look over at Cleveland Indians Stadium. All season long it burned me, playing there in the shadow of that stadium. It didn't hurt my pitching, but it sure didn't do me any good." He really wanted to play Major League Baseball. Historian or biographer Larry Tice said this about Satchel Paige in 1931, quote, "Satchel was stagnating in Cleveland where his team was dying. So Page jumped to the Pittsburgh Crawfords, which paid him $250 a month in August of 1931. And Satchel Paige returned to Cleveland in 1948 with the Cleveland Indians. Satchel Paige. Alonzo Boone was another pitcher, and he was a manager in his career. He batted 5 times, did not have a hit. His pitching record was 0-2. He had 2 starts, a complete game, 11 1/3 innings pitched, and 5 strikeouts. Boone's nickname was Buster. He played for the Memphis Red Sox, Cleveland Cubs, Birmingham Black Barons, Cleveland Bears, Cincinnati Buckeyes, Cleveland Buckeyes, Chicago American Giants, and Louisville Buckeyes between 1929 and 1950. In 1947, with the Cleveland Buckeyes, he helped that team win a Negro American League title and was 5-1. He was the manager of the Cleveland Buckeyes between 1948 and 1950. He survived a car accident. In 1942, he was with Cleveland Buckeyes teammates Ulysses Buster Brown and Raymond Smokey Owens, who were killed in a car accident in which he was involved. In 1945, with the Negro American League, he won a title with Birmingham. His hometown was Cleveland. In 1946, with the Cleveland Buckeyes, they played at League Park, and he got the win in the first Cleveland Buckeyes game played at League Park. His father was a pitcher for the Kansas City Monarchs. After he retired, Boone was a custodian at the Cleveland Museum of Art. In 1970, he was the city streets department He worked for the city streets department issuing permits for street work and retired in 1981. Boone was born in 1908 in Decatur, Alabama, and died in 1982 in Cleveland, Ohio at age 74. Alonzo Boone. Henry Wright batted 4 times, did not have a hit. His pitching record was 0-1, 1 start, a complete game, 10 innings pitched, and 2 strikeouts. They called him Red or Howard. Wright played for the Nashville Elite Giants, Cleveland Cubs, Columbus Elite Giants, and Birmingham Black Barons between 1928 and 1935. His son Henry Jr. was also a Negro League baseball player. For his career, Wright was 6-7 with an ERA of 4.19, 22 games, 12 starts, 10 complete games, 111 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 28 strikeouts. Henry Wright. Robert Pipkin batted 4 times, did not have a hit. His pitching record was 0-1, 1 start, 3 2/3 innings pitched, and 2 strikeouts. They called him Lefty and Black Diamond. Played for the Birmingham Black Barons, Cleveland Cubs, New Orleans Crescent Stars, and Detroit Senators between 1928 and 1947. For his career, he hit .313. And as a pitcher, he was 9-8 with 16 starts, 5 complete games, a shutout, 106 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 45 strikeouts. Robert Pipkin. And finally, A. Gillespie. Batted .500, had 1 hit and 2 at-bats. His pitching record was 1-0, 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, and 0 runs allowed. And Gillespie played for the Cleveland Cubs in 1931. This was the extent of his baseball career. A. Gillespie. Now, after the season, the St. Louis Stars were champions of the Negro National League, and the Hilldale Daisies were champions of the Eastern Independent Clubs. So there was no clear champion, although you could say 2 champions. The top hitter in the Negro Leagues was Walter Canady for the Hilldale Daisies, and the top pitcher was Script Lee of the Baltimore Black Sox. So that's the story of the 1931 Cleveland Cubs in the Negro League baseball era that had Satchel Paige. So they had an interesting year. God bless the fellows who played for the Cleveland Cubs in 1931 and everyone else associated with the team, including the fans, especially the Civil War veterans, Spanish-American War veterans, and First World War veterans. Captains of the Cuyahoga, lovers of Lake Erie, Terminal Tower Power, fans of the Free Stamp statue and the Fountain of Eternal Life, Euclid Avenue Electricity, Severance Hall stalwarts, Cleveland Museum of Art enthusiasts, First Energy Stadium friends, Progressive Field pals, Quicken Loans Arena enthusiasts, Tribe, Browns, Cavs, Monsters, and Gladiators rule. Cleveland, City of Champions. Cleveland is the best location in the nation on the north coast of America. New York is the Big Apple. Cleveland is a plum. Before you know it, it'll be opening day 2019. Go Tribe. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.